What is up, boys? It is your boy PDS. Today I'll be showing you some budget, kind of staple cards you can use to fill in your decks if you don't have all the certain cards. If you went up and looked up a deck list and you don't have all the cards yet, some of these cards will help you out just to fill up your deck and to make it just a little bit more powerful. So to start us off, we got all the Kaijus that are rare. So all of these cards are going to be budget options, guys. I can make a video in the future showing you guys some budget options in the SR category, but these are just ones I wanted to get, because these are really easy to make, with your own currency. So we got all the Kaijus up here. So Radiant, Godarla, the Thunder King Kaiju, and Jizukiru. So basically what these cards do is they allow you to tribute over your opponent's monsters. So if they have an extremely powerful monster that you can't deal with or it can't be targeted, because you guys know how TCG is, sometimes they be getting like insanely powerful monsters. This is just gonna make it like a blank slate, and you can use your other cards to try to get rid of it. Like, you can Raigeki it or whatever, however means you want to get rid of it. Some of these cards have better synergy with other decks. Like if you're playing a dark deck and you have like Allure of Darkness, maybe you want to play Radiant. If you're playing a machine deck, maybe you want to play Jizukiru. So you guys got to look into those cards. Next up is just the story cards. So, Raigeki, Monster Reborn, Reinforcements of the Army. If you're playing a warrior deck, of course, you can play Reinforcements of the Army. Monster Reborn and Raigeki, though, they fit pretty well into like most decks, especially if you're missing cards. So, yeah. This card is if your deck is more so suited towards going second. So Swords of Concealing Light, non-target, flips all of your opponent's monsters face down. So it's really, really nice. Obviously, this isn't going to work on links. So if they have link monsters, they're not going to go face down. But it's really nice against, especially if you're friends, like, if they have powerful, like fusion decks or XYZ decks. This card is going to allow you to non-target, just like try to turn off all their effects, especially if they're like, continuous effects. So I really like this card. But it's only really good going second. If you have it going first, you're not really going to have a good time. But, it is what it is. So, Dimensional Fissure, this card can really screw you over. So you got to make sure you're playing it in the right deck. You got to make sure you're playing it in a deck where you don't care that your monsters get banished. So this card is going to banish all of your, any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So really, really powerful effect. And it's only a rare, so... definitely look out for that card if your deck can play it. Next up, we have MST, of course. Very nice backer removal, and it's a rare, so can't complain. We all know what it does. Book of Moon, obviously, if you guys play Duel Links, you guys know this is a UR over here. It's a rare, and it's actually pretty good still. It is a 1-for-1, and it allows you to play around hand traps. So what do I mean by that? So let's say your opponent activates a card like Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence, and they target your monster. You can go ahead and chain Book of Moon to flip him face down, and that will allow your monster to resolve with its effect because it's being flipped face down before their hand trap resolves. So it's a really, really nice card for that. And it's a similar situation with Enemy Controller, except with Enemy Controller, you can actually make use of some of your... So let's say, for instance, you're always running into a lot of XYZ decks. You can actually, if you're not playing an XYZ deck yourself, you can still fit in a copy of cards like Downward Magician or Divine Arsenal Zeus. So cards that overlay on top of your opponent's XYZ monsters. It's a really, really nice way of playing around your opponent's cards and also using your opponent's cards to your advantage. So I really like that. And it has a similar situation with Book of Moon where you can dodge the hand traps. So definitely recommend that. Of course, up next we have Forbidden Chalice, a great card. Just like Book of Moon, it baits out a 1-for-1 interaction. So if they have a monster negate, you can just trade that one monster negate with your one chalice. And also it's really nice because it can be activated in the damage step. It can be used aggressively, defensively. It's a great card. I play it in my Sky Striker deck, actually. Even though it's just a rare, I really enjoy it. Next up, this trap is absurd. Torrential Tribute. When a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. Absolutely insane card. I would definitely recommend 3 of this. Not every deck can play it. Up with the next card as well, not every deck can play it. But if you're playing like a very slow trap deck, this plus Solemn Strike is like literally like an instant win versus all combo decks. So you definitely want 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. Needle Sealing, a very similar situation. If there are 4 or more monsters in the field, destroy all face-up monsters. So you might be thinking, this card doesn't seem as powerful. Maybe, if you've been playing some duels and you're like, I've been trying out Raigeki and it hasn't been working out. These cards are excellent with counter traps. So, cards like the Solemn Strike, that card is really good with these trap cards because even if they have multiple negates, your counter trap is just going to say, no, you can't do it. So another good card is, I wouldn't recommend this one more so, but Divine Wrath. It's really nice, actually. I don't know why. Here, look, I'm put it on the list right now. Divine Wrath is also pretty good in conjunction with these two cards right here. So if you're playing a more trap-focused deck, a more slower strategy, definitely you want to use these counter traps. Something, like the Paleo strategy. So, like, this card's on here, but it's also a pretty good generic card. Anyways, next up, we have Compulse. This card is great as well. It is a 1-for-1. You can use it on normal summons. A lot of cards, like the Tri-Brigade monsters, they activate after they've been summoned. They have an effect to just banish monsters and then special summon a monster from the extra deck. You can just put the Tri-Brigade monster back into the hand so they're not able to activate that effect. So I really like this card. Of course, it's not as powerful as it once was, but it is also very powerful at bouncing like Link monsters. So Link and Synchro, Xyz, any type of extra deck monsters. I really like it for that as well. Paleozoic Dinomischus. This card is great if you have any cards that trigger from being sent to the graveyard by card effects. And not only that, it's kind of like Karma Cut, except it can target spells and traps. So if you ever need to banish a field spell or something, this card is great for that. And of course, it's also a Paleo monster, so it brings itself back. Then we have Lost Wind. Lost Wind is an excellent card. You target one face-up special summon monster on the field, negate its effects. Also, its original attack is halved. And then if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck while this card is in your graveyard, you can set this card from the grave and then you banish it when it leaves the field. So it's a great card. You can use it in the damage step. It's another one of those cards where you can really outplay your opponents, and also it has multiple uses, so I really like that about it. Next up, we have Divine Wrath. I kind of went into it a little bit with the Torrential and the Needle, but yeah, it's really nice to have counter traps with these two cards because you can just stop all of the negate, like the mass negations, because you're going to be spell speed 3 and they cannot activate anything besides another counter trap to your counter trap. So Solemn Scolding, another card. I would like to put Solemn Strike, Solemn Judgment on here, but they're not budget. They're URs. So these cards are going to be some alternatives for you guys. Obviously, you're not going to be putting Scolding in a trap deck because you're going to need your back row is going to be filled up, so you're not going to have easy use of this. But if you're playing this on you can play this in like a deck that doesn't really play too many traps as well, because obviously you're not going to be setting as much. And since we are in the TCG, you do have 8,000 life, so that's great. And then the final card is going to be Fogblade. This card kind of works like Fiendish Chain in Duel Links, except you can target your own monsters, and whatever is locked under the whatever's locked under the Fogblade cannot be attacked or attacked. So you can use this card on your own monster to try and just survive. And you can also use it on your opponent's monster to negate them. And then, but the problem is that you're gonna have to find a way to get rid of it because you can't attack their guy. So yeah, and then for the extra deck, there wasn't really too much. Just generic stuff: Charge Warrior, Gravity Controller, Update Jammer. You guys can take a quick read at these. But yeah, these are budget cards. I definitely recommend you guys pick up. It is really easy to get N and R jewels, so yeah, these won't be a waste, especially because you can just use these to fill up, like I said, all of your decks that you can't quite complete. And yeah, guys, that is going to be it from me. I have been loving Master Duel. As you guys can see, I have I have a little bit of collection here. I'm currently, I don't know what rank I am, like Platinum 4. This is my ID in case any of you PDS dudes want to add me. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.